Okay, everyone, this is John Fisher. I think we're going to get started. For those that don't know me, I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for MAM Software. I've been with the company since 2002, although I've been working with point-of-sale software products since the early 80s. So I've been doing this for a couple of years. With me on the phone is Sean Gillespie, and Sean has been one of the business analysts working on the Vast Online project over the last few years, and he's now joined up my sales team just over the last few months, and he's on because he's going to be doing the demonstration that we're going to show you of where we are with Vast Online. So, just to tell you how this works, if you haven't been on one of these webinars, we're able to speak, but we're not actually listening to you guys because there's so many people on. So it's kind of similar to the last webinar we did. We allow each of you to post questions that will either respond during the section or during the slide that we're on, or during the Q&A section, which we're going to do afterwards. I guess to start things off, I know the pressing question by all of you is why is this taking so long, and for many of you, when can we get on the schedule? As many of you already know, we have not just made a facelift or changes to our existing VAS software that you guys probably know that's currently deployed in thousands of stores all over the U.S. The product, Vast Online, is a brand new version of Vast that we've written really from the ground up. As most of you probably do not know, this is our fourth major product change since we started developing point of sale back in the mid 1980s. So we've gone through our first release, which is an MS-DOS release in the 80s, and we completely rewrote the system for a Unix version in the 90s. Unix being the same platform that GBMS is currently running on. And then we completely rewrote the system again in the early 2000s under the Windows platform, and that's the version that we've had out, since I think 2001. So this new product that we've embarked on over the last three and a half years is really from the ground up. So I assure you, it will be worth the wait. We're currently going through our pilot phase of the project, and I'll talk more about it when we talk about the timing when I give the project status here in a few slides. So along with myself and with Sean, there's two other account managers that work on my team, Lou Bonilla and Lauren Emmons, who's also on the line as well, that's listening in. But I'll be giving all our four contact information way at the end. I'm sure you probably have talked to one of us already, but I'll have cell phone numbers. You can get a hold of us afterwards as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. This is being recorded, so for anyone within your organization that you'd like to be able to share this with, you can reach out to us and we can get a recording out for you. But the agenda, what we're going to be doing for the hour, I'm going to start off with just a project overview about what the product is for some of you that have maybe don't know much about it already. The second agenda item is what's new in the current version. Then I'll be talking about plans for future releases, give an update on the project, excuse me, with timings and what we're doing with the pilot phase, and then we're going to get into a demonstration. So one of the new things that's come out really since if you were at the dealer conference, we did show some of that here in February, but showing the integration of QuickBooks Online. So I'm going to be doing a little demonstration of that. And then Sean will be doing the demonstration of Vast Online, and then we'll be getting into the Q&A session. So let's first start with the overview. What is Vast Online? It is a replacement for GBMS. It's a complete point-of-sale system that contains inventory management and purchasing and time clock and order entry. And it really replaces everything that we currently have in our current Windows VAS system. Some of the uniquenesses is that it's browser-based. The buzzword in the industry is being cloud-based. But one of the things that makes this very unique is that it's not just putting an application up on a cloud somewhere. It's really a true cloud-based application running in a browser, so you have the ability to run it on any device. And some of you have heard my presentations before on this, and it really makes a big difference. I mean, it's one of the reasons why this has taken so long, is that the system's been written from the ground up to really be a cloud-based software. It's also multi-tenant. Now, what multi-tenant means is that it's one application that's running on the cloud, which is the Microsoft cloud that we're using. Everyone has their own database, so everything is completely secure. But the program, everyone's running the same version of the program, which means when we come out with an update to the software is updated once on the server, and you have to perform no updates whatsoever to kind of your local instance, because everything is running on one instance. So it makes it a lot more usable and repairable. So anyway, so it runs under the Microsoft Azure cloud, which is Microsoft's cloud software. You may have heard of that, and that Microsoft has had advertisements about their version, their business cloud software, and that's what it's running. It's one of the most, I would say, the most secure software that's out there, the cloud software that's out there. So that is the overview. Talk about some of the key features of the software. Integrated parts and tire ordering from Goodyear, from WDs, and from parts resellers. So we'll be going and showing you some of that, but it's identifying a part for parts ordering and being able to see whether your supplier has it right in real time, being able to order that, flowing all the way through to QuickBooks. And as well, doing this, if you're a direct dealer with Goodyear, you'll be able to see Goodyear's inventory, be able to place purchase orders, be able to place stock purchase orders or hotshot orders, and then whether you're ordering from WDs as well, I would say we're connected to just about every Goodyear WD at this point. There may be a few that haven't made the connection yet, but we're just about there. So. Another key feature is the ability to log into any store from a single instance. So with GBMS and with many software products that are out there, you know it's a store-based system where you're logged onto the store itself, and it's really not easy for you to go into another store where they get consolidated data. Well, with one login, you do have the ability to bounce around from store to store. There's role-based customized home screens, which means you have the ability to customize what's on someone's home screen. You know, as an owner, you can control each one of your salespeople or back office accounting people. So maybe you only want to show certain back office accounting on that home screen, and it makes the system much more usable. Goodyear National Account Processing. We are using Goodyear's new web services version of the Goodyear National Account Processing, which means that instead of, you're running on our current version of VAST, although we do have complete integration with national accounts, it's looking at validation tables that's sitting on the server, sitting on your own server. So it's not real time in doing that data, although the tables are coming in that morning, so it's somewhat real time. But anyway, this is a new version, so it's actually going to Goodyear. It's reconciling who's the national account in real time with Goodyear. It's looking at all the validation questions, getting pricing, and being able to do all your different document types for national accounts. And finally, one of the key features is the Epx Credit Card. We do support that with the current version of VAST Online. We also support the ability to do multiple payment types and cards on a single transaction. I know something that you haven't excuse me, been able to do within GBMS. Okay, so I'm going to just talk a little bit about some of the new stuff that that we didn't have, you know, back 6 months ago or a year ago. QuickBooks Online integration. So I'm going to be demonstrating that to you guys, so you can see how the data looks when it moves over to QuickBooks Online. We also support a tire data downloader now, and the tire data downloader is an integration to our tire data that we support here at MAM for downloading SKUs and all of the attributes of a tire, whether it be UTQG and speed rating and pictures of the tire, and we support all brands, all makes, and you have the ability to download those. So it's a real key feature. Credit reissue. Credit reissue is a function that allows you to automatically reverse an order and then completely create a positive of that order to be able to rebill it. You know, if you completely mess up a transaction, and instead of having to, you know, because you don't want to just void out and erase a transaction for audit trail purposes, so we allow you to completely reverse it, and then one step goes ahead and creates a positive of that. We've integrated packages, so we have a really cool way of doing packages, and we'll show you this. Sean will go through a demonstration of how oil changes work, and we'll be doing that. Product associations. Currently with GBMS, as you know, you're using your 6 or I think it's 6 or maybe 9 digit service codes and tire codes, and we support that completely. Where we'll be converting all of your data so you'll be able to use all of those codes themselves, but we do support the ability to do product association. So for example, if you don't want to use those codes and at the counter you wanted to be able to type in LOF1, which means this 6-digit code from Goodyear for national account purposes, it will translate that behind the scenes. So we support that now. And then lastly, the Goodyear credit card application. So initially we didn't have this, and we've added this recently, where you do have the ability to do credit card application and do credit card payments as well, and inside of Vast Online. So some of the plans that we have, a few of the big things here that we're doing right now currently that'll be in releases here within this calendar year, 2018. One is our integration with Podium, and I know a lot of you guys that are doing business maybe with ATD or with other WDs. There's a number of WDs that support or have an integration or want to have an integration with this CRM company. So it's a customer follow-up automatic text messaging function that data is being sent to Podium, and they're doing market feedback as well as giving your customers the ability to rate their experience with you and posting that on your website. So it's a you know, a lot of our Goodyear dealers that are GBMS customers have asked for this, and so it was a priority for us to bring this on early on. And then secondly, the release of the integration to Carside. And for those of you that don't know Carside is our digital inspection application, which will take you through the process of inspecting a car and providing a really nice text message to communicate with your customer on pictures and what's wrong with your car, on their car, and it integrates completely with Vast. And then lastly, and this is probably one of the biggest things, you know, as we've gone through now with our 5 pilot locations, you know, we're continually getting requests of making changes, and some of them are defects, some of them are enhancements. So we're taking these changes that have been identified by the pilot locations, and we're continually you know, coming out with new releases for them as we go through this whole process. So those are the key things for 2018. Okay, just making sure that I have no other notes that. And feel free to ask questions kind of as we're going through this too. And Sean, as I'm talking, Sean will go ahead and answer some of those, and then also we'll do some way at the end. So. Okay, so the project status. So the initial roadmap, as I think most of you probably know this already, was really driven by Goodyear corporate retail as well as Goodyear dealer requirements. Our initial pilot location, which is 1.5, actually we called it 1.3 when it first came out in October, but the current pilot 1.5, what's out now, contains you know, a subset of all of the total VAST functionality focusing on retail and commercial. So, as many of you I think know, our plan is, we have a very, very functional system today, great system that runs in Windows. And the plan has been to have all the functions of VAST be in the new version of VAST Online. So with our initial release, we focused on retail, excuse me, retail and commercial. Our goal is to have really what we're calling 2.x, so it's 2.0 or whatever the version will be then, probably in mid-2019, with all of the core VAST functionality, things that we not bringing over, like for example G-Tracks. If you're a retreader, that's one thing we don't have right now. So it's, if you're in the wholesale business too, so there's some wholesale functionality that's not within the release. That's part of being piloted. So as far as the pilot phase goes, what we've done, and I think some of you know this already, Country Road Tire was our first pilot location that went live in October. Olson Tire went live in January. They were the second store that we had. The third store was the second Country Road location. So in January we brought them live. They were making or now being our first multi-shop enterprise. So with Country Road being 2 locations, and then we went live with Samaritan Tire at the end of March. So we're continuing down this pilot phase. It's a lot of work for us. I know it's taking longer than what all of you expect. It's taking, again, I have my sales and marketing hat on right now, and I want to be selling and getting this out in the field. So, but it needs to be ready. It needs to be ready, and we can't be putting it out before it's ready. So we're still going through a process. So I know the big question is, okay, well, when is it going to be a general release? When is everyone going to be getting it? And the difficult answer we have is that right now there's no firm date. But we will follow our successful pilot phase, and we need to go through this process. And when we get a stamp of approval by the dealers, by both Goodyear, then we're going to say, okay, now we're going to start rolling this out. So I know this is, if we go back to January of 2017, when we really expected to have it out by the end of 17. And we were taking deposits and saying, hey, you want to get online early, and a lot of you guys have taken us up on that, and you paid us some money. You are on the list. We will be keeping you updated on whether you still want to be kind of early or waiting towards the end. But that's where it is right now. A couple of things that we did do: we did launch a dealer portal. This is available to all dealers now, so it gives you the ability to kind of post questions as forums. Not people. There's a number of people have signed up for it, but there's really hasn't been at least the forum section hasn't been used that much. There's been a couple of questions, but we encourage you to, if you haven't done this already, to go into the dealer portal. It does have all of the correspondence about hardware, about things you should be doing beforehand, and that's all out there. So. And then lastly, we put a lot of effort in over the last year or two with our learning management system. We're calling it the LMS system. It has been launched for our pilot locations. So we'll have training videos. We have training videos on there. So as people are going through the process of deploying the system, this is where it's another way of getting trained, other than us doing webinars and kind of live training over the internet. But this has been launched just over the last month or two, since the dealer conference. Okay, with that, I'm going to do a little bit of a demonstration. First, I thought we would, instead of going over to Sean, I'm going to be bringing in QuickBooks Online. So what you're seeing here is the dashboard for QuickBooks Online. Sean, I know I can hear you. So can you tell me, are you seeing that okay? Just make sure that I have the right screen.
Yes, I am seeing QuickBooks. I'm seeing QuickBooks.
Great. Okay. Okay. So for QuickBooks, for those that don't know the integration points and what's not in VAST Online and what's in QuickBooks, let me just have a little brief explanation. So VAST Online contains point of sale. It also contains accounts receivable. So your AR is all maintained within VAST Online, not within QuickBooks. Inventory and inventory management, where all your products are, your service codes, your tires, everything is in VAST, for inventory, and then also purchasing is in VAST too. So as you create a purchase order, whether it be a stock purchase order in our purchase order module, or if you create a hotshot purchase order from within VAST Online, like from within our ordering system, like for example, you want to put a water pump on someone's car, well, VAST Online will go out to CarQuest and O'Reilly and Napa and bring everything back on one screen, on one layered screen, but then you have the ability to see what they have in stock, place the order, and it creates a purchase order, and that detailed transaction, goes over to QuickBooks in detail. So that's the detailed transaction that gets sent over. Everything else is sent over in a journal entry form, but it is sent over in a detailed journal entry form. So for example, an invoice that's cut at point of sale, consists of a journal entry that affects your general ledger, and it debits cash or accounts receivable and credits sales and debits cost of goods sold and credits sales tax, right? Well, that transaction goes over per line item to QuickBooks Online. So I'll be showing you that. So those are the touch points. All your financial transactions are being sent over as journal entries, other than your purchasing, where purchase orders and accounts payable invoices get sent over in detail. So what we're looking at here, this is QuickBooks Online, and you're looking at some little KPIs that you can create here. For example, here's one on expenses. So you can drill down and say, well, just show me the last 30 days, and it's gonna go ahead and repaint that. And okay, now you have 100% is all shop supplies, as opposed to where we were if I showed this year, right, where it's breaking that up. What I'm going to do is just go through a couple of reports, and then you can see the drill down function of those reports. So I'm going to click on the reports function, and you have the ability to see favorites. So, like for example, here's all your business overview reports, the accounts receivable. So again, we're not using AR, so that won't be appearing on yours because AR is all within VAST. And then your accounts payable detailed reports. Now you can just quickly turn these on for favorites, which means, okay, it's going to plop them up at the top. So for example, here's my profit and loss, my income statement, my balance sheet. So if I go to, I'm going to click on profit and loss, and it's going to now drill down to a profit and loss statement. So here's your income statement. Now the system has the capability of drill down. So for example, I can be on tires, right? I can come over here to 3,509.82, and I can click on it, and it's now going to take me to the general ledger to show you every journal entry that makes up that period. So if you're looking at an income statement for a month, it's going to show you all the journal entries for that month. If you're doing it for just a date range, maybe you want to look at a day, right? It'll show you a day if you wanted to. So let me come back to the dashboard. So you have an income statement, you have a balance sheet, the two major financial statements. We do have detailed general ledgers as well, so if you want to look at journal entry reports. But I thought I would at least show you the profit and loss and the balance sheet, and then go into just a quick look at the accounts payable one. So let me go back to reports. And I'm going to go to, let's go to accounts payable aging summary. So what this is going to do, it's going to show you your accounts payable aging by 30, 60, 90, and 90 over, and you basically can create your different columns here. but it's not a detail, so you're not seeing line item invoices. So, but you can, if you wanted to, I can click on this and then drill down into the detail. Well, show me the advanced auto parts invoices by aging period. So here's my current, here's my 30, 60, 90 is the way that works. And then lastly, there are some pretty cool, see if I have the management. So if I go into management reports, these are nice because you actually will create a kind of a booklet to use on the outside, go to your bank with. And if I wanted to say, here's my expense performance reports, it'll actually generate a report that has a title page with your corporate logo on there and the reports that are associated reports. So here's a management report. And in this case, what I'm doing is I'm listing a profit and loss, I'm doing an AP aging, and I'm doing a vendor expenses by vendor summary. So instead of having to, copy this to Word, if you want to give it to a bank, it's really a nice function. So here's your profit and loss statement, moving to your AP aging, moving to a summary at the end. Okay, so that's just an overview, and if you have questions on these, please post some questions on QuickBooks. We'll be able to answer it during the question and answer. We're already about a half hour in. We thought we would do maybe 10 to 15 minutes here of the vast online demonstration, showing some of the new stuff with packages, and then we'll open it up to questions. So Sean, I will be passing this over to you. Give me a second. And you should have it here in a second.
Okay, so this is Vast Online. I'm going to go ahead and make this full screen. This is the screen that we would see when we initially sign into the software. As John had mentioned, this is a role-based home screen. I'll explain a little bit more of what that means in a minute or two here. But over here on the left-hand side, we have all of our relevant buttons, the buttons that we would use most frequently. We have the ability to configure that. We also have our graphs, our KPIs, or key performance indicators over here on the right-hand side. You'll notice this weekly sales target. We can click the weekly sales, drill down to more specific instances of our sales targets. We also can see all of our outstanding appointments for today and our outstanding work orders that still need to be invoiced for this particular store. So when I say a role-based screen, what I mean is that this screen can be configured for an individual user. So depending upon your function or your role within the store, you may see different buttons, different KPIs on your home screen. And this could be for an individual user or for a group of users for a specific role, obviously, as the name indicates, within the store itself. As John had also mentioned, we have the ability to switch back and forth between stores. So you see 0537, that's the number of the current store that I'm in. I can switch stores by simply clicking a drop down, and then I appear in a different store without actually having to leave the physical location where I am at the moment. So now I'll go through a couple of transactions just to go through some of our Vast Online workflow. So we'll go to our customer contact button. Our customer search appears. I can type in the name Kelly. You'll notice last name Kelly and first name Kelly both appear. So I can choose Bob Kelly. I can click select. I can choose from his list of vehicles. These are any vehicles that have been brought into this shop at any point. I can go ahead and click select. We'll see our customer contact screen appears, our relevant customer data on the left-hand side, our relevant vehicle data on the right-hand side. I can go ahead and continue into the work order. Now I can click tires. This is our tire lookup grid. First thing I can do is go to our fitment for the vehicle that we've selected. The catalog will give us a list of tire sizes that are relevant for that vehicle. I can choose a tire size, and the first thing this grid will do is show us what we have on hand for that particular tire size at the moment. So we can also configure this grid. We can reconfigure the order of the grids of the columns. We can also configure the width, what kind of information is stored within this grid. So I'll go ahead and just choose a tire. So let's need 2 of these tires. We can go ahead and click Save. Any tag-alongs that we have set up in the system or associated products will display. We can set up road hazard, so any kind of road hazard. In this case, I'm going to decline road hazard. We can go ahead and click Save. You'll notice that we have decline products visibility to decline. That was one of the things that we were stressing to try and resell some of those declines. But now we can go ahead and finish. I'll click Invoice and Print. You can choose a terminal. Now we're in our method of payment screen. I can go ahead and choose cash. Let's say I'm paying with $300 in cash. We notice that the system will calculate the remaining balance. We can choose an additional form of payment. So we'll just choose a check for the moment. It'll ask me for a check number and an authorization number. I can go ahead and click Save. Now an invoice print preview will appear. Everything displays initially as a print preview in Vast Online, such that we have the ability to email this to the customer. We obviously also have the ability to print. We can configure it so that it automatically prints depending on what you want set up at your store. So I'll click Cancel. Now we'll go back through another transaction. So I can choose that same customer. I'll choose Bob Kelly again. We'll choose that Camry. I can come back into tires. I'll choose that same tire size. Now we can let's take 3 separate tires, and we can do a tire comparison. So we can do, a good, better, best tire comparison. You'll notice we get the tire images coming over from Tire HQ. We also see all of our tire information, our features and benefits, again, coming from Tire HQ. If we wanted to, we could click Print. We'd be able to email this tire comparison. So if we were doing, a phone quote, if we were on the phone with a customer, we'd have the ability to send this to them so they could see the same thing we're seeing during the sale. We can also go into a quote. If we wanted to remove any of the tag-along items that are automatically associated with this tire, we could choose that. We could also add, let's say we wanted to add a valve stem, I could add that to the order as well. Click Save. It will modify the quote to match the changes that have been made. I can also use what we call our V-Tire. So any warehouses, wholesaling that you do for tires, anybody that you purchase tires from, we can set it up such that we would be able to do a real-time look. So in this case, if I'm clicking on ATD on American Tire, I'm doing a real-time query. Obviously, in this case, it's a test site, but this is how many tires that they have on hand in this size at the moment. I can see cost and pricing set up, and I'd have the ability to post an electronic order. So without having to pick up the phone, I'd be able to order tires from any of my warehouses that I purchase from. So now I'll go through, as John had alluded to, we can kind of go through some of the package functionalities. Let's say if this customer needs an oil change package done, I can choose our silver oil change service. The first thing that the system will do is make a call out to the catalog, get our recommended viscosity. Now any products that we have that match that viscosity on hand will appear. So we're going to choose our blend here, click Select. Next thing, the system will make another call out to the catalog, get our engine capacity, the 6.4 quarts here. Now this is set up as a 5-quart oil change package, so we'll get a message that we're going to incur an additional cost. We're going to go ahead and say yes. Next thing, the system will make a call out to get the correct oil filter. So into the catalog, we can choose our filter, post it back to the order. And now we have set up our oil change package. Now obviously we can configure the pricing on the various line items within the package depending on how you wanted it to be set up at your specific store. We also go to products and go to Epicor. In much the same way that we had looked at tires, we can go to our braking system, choose front brake pads and shoes, and go to what we call the item broker. So in much the same way that we were able to look up tires in the tire, I can look at any of my parts warehouses that I purchase from. So I can go to AutoZone here. We'll get a call back from AutoZone. If I wanted to post these pads, I can go over here to post, take these pads, I can click this Post an Order button, and you'll notice that it pulls those pads back from the system or from the catalog and places them onto the work order. So there's just a few transactions, and now I will pass back over to John. I think we're going to do questions.
Well, those are a few transactions. We have about 15 minutes. I wanted to leave it open as much as possible if there anyone that would have any questions, so feel free to post questions. There's a few of them already. One of them is where do you find the dealer portal by Jason Welsh. And Jason, hopefully you did receive the, or you must have received the invitation to the webinar. So in that there was a link. Now the first version of it, of that email that we sent out, had an improper link. So, but it was since another email got sent. But I think, Sean, can you actually look, maybe get it so we can at least give the link here?
Yes, I'll go find that right now, John, and post it.
Okay. Okay. I believe it's MAM portal. Let me go ahead and show. I can even show the screen, I think. If I go F11, come down. This is the dealer portal. So it's mamsoftwareportal.com. I don't think you need to have the www. So mamsoftwareportal.com. I believe that we need to register. Yeah, I'm sorry. Our marketing director is actually on vacation today, and she's the one that's going to be on here to kind of handle that. I just don't know the actual process for actually registering. But I think you might be able to register right online. So we'll need to get back to you. But Sean, if you can, anything you could find here while we're still on.
Yep, I'm going to have that in just a second, Sean.
Okay. Okay. Question from Rhett Hamby. How will multiple sales tax jurisdictions be handled? Good question. So you know that, and it's not just multiple sales tax, but if your guys are commercial dealers, you know that in certain states, like I know North Carolina, where there's a different sales tax rate even for certain products, even within the same jurisdiction. So we're, as we're going through the process, because as you know, Goodyear Corporate Retail is going to be deploying the software as well, and I know that sales tax has, we needed to be compliant with everywhere, all through the country. So I know we handle it. I know that that the system is not going to be doing all your tax tables for you. Like for example, there's some expensive software out there for maybe retail stores where there's a product like Olivera is, I think, one of them where all the tax rates are done for you. But so there is some setup that's going to be taking place through the implementation of the system, so that we would work with you on making sure that you have everything set up. But once it's set up, you have the ability to do multiple tax rates. I know if you're in the commercial truck business too, you're doing road service, and it really depends on where the work is being done. So even in one store, you're going to have to be able to handle that. So it is being handled. And okay, is there a time card for employees in the system, and does it go into QuickBooks? Yes and no. So yes, there is a time clock. Sean, do you know whether that's in the current release now too, the time clock, or is that not something that's in the current pilot release? I know it will be out there.
Time clock is not in the current pilot release, but I believe it is coming within the next month or so. It's one of the items that they're currently working on testing.
Okay, and I believe and this is for Brandy Gessler. I think that that we're not going to be having an integration so that that goes to QuickBooks Payroll. So and it's also, that is the way that we currently do it with VAST too, our current version of VAST. I mean, we have the ability to print out a report as well as download a file, and those files can be imported into various payroll systems. But there's not going to be a plug and play where it's going to automatically go over to QuickBooks. As you guys know, the way commissions work, and I know most of you are doing commissions with technicians and salespeople, and we're building in all the calculations, but that makes it more difficult to kind of bring that over and make the payroll system completely automated because of everything with commissions. Okay, there's no other questions at this point. Anything else? And we can hang on for a minute or two. Oh, I think we may have one. So a question from Steve Brand. So how do you manually cost mechanical jobs? Can we set up relief factors when costing jobs? Okay, so the answer to this, you have the ability to, now I'm assuming that you mean price, I guess, as opposed to, your actual cost to calculate profitability. So I'm not sure exactly what your question. Maybe if you can be a little bit more specific too. But let me give it a little bit of explanation of how it works both ways. So your selling price. Let me talk about selling price first, right? So your selling price has the ability to look at your labor hours and calculate labor time by your labor rate, and then come up with this with the price of the job itself. Normally, our customers are showing, for profitability purposes, zero cost on labor. Now, if you wanted to, you have the ability to have costs in the cost fields on labor codes, so that you can say, okay, for a certain brake job, this is the cost I want. If you're going to use this code, this is the cost I'm going to have, and it does show profitability. So, we'll make a journal entry to General Ledger based on what costs you have there. I do not think, the second part of your question, which was, can we set up relief factors when costing jobs? I'm not sure. I think I know what the relief factors are. I think maybe you mean like maybe factor costing, where you're going to say, okay, if the selling price, if I'm charging $100, I want to actually have a 50 or 60% cost factor. I think that's what it is. I don't believe we're going to be supporting that right away. I don't think we even have that within VAST right now, so I'd have to check. But right now, no. So hopefully that answers your question. Any other questions? We'll definitely hold on for a minute or two. Give you guys some time to key these in. I know a question that some of you may have too is just what we've talked about, the time frame of the dealers, right? But I'm sure you have a lot of our bigger customers are wanting to see corporate retail stores go live and want to know when that's happening. So it's still in the works. I think there's a plan to at least my understanding of it is that they'll begin unit testing and some kind of a pre-pilot at a store coming up in the summer. But still, the plan is to try to have the whole pilot phase be happening this year for sure still. So that's the plan as I understand it. Okay, is there a ton? How will this work as a time clock? Yes, it's going to work as a time clock. It's not going to be working as a time clock, and that was a question from Jim Cooper. It's not going to be working as a time clock like clocking in and out of jobs, where we've had some people that have asked for that. That's not what this is. A true payroll time clock. So customers coming in, I'm sorry, not customers, but employees coming in, they can go to any workstation, click on it, and say, hey, I'm clocking in, and leaving for lunch. They can clock out, clock back in, and then there's management reports to our management overrides if you wanted to. Then there's reporting that'll show time worked. So, and we do have reports. There'll be reports that will show time clock versus billable time. So there's productivity of, these is for if you wanted to get productivity reports from a mechanic or for mechanics. Any other questions? We'll hang on for another minute.
Sean, I do see a question here. How do we get a copy of this to share with coworkers?
Okay, good. So the recording will be, we'll make available, and we will put on the dealer portal how to get that. So, and again, if you're not on the dealer portal, I know you need to get instructions on getting that first. So Sean, do you have any information on that as of yet?
So I posted the dealer portal, the link under, I believe it was Jason's original question. So I answered that at send to all. So that should be posted there, the link for the dealer portal itself.
That sure is a heck of a URL. It's like 5 lines.
Yeah.
That is the right one? Okay.
That was the link. I copied that from the email that I'd received from Megan.
Okay. Well, what I'll do, too, is just to make sure everyone knows, let me go back to my presentation. Just so everyone has my contact information. So, feel free if you have any questions. So I see Lauren just sent me a message too that you could just use mamsoftwareportal.com. So that's really it. But I think the question is that they need to register. They may need to register, Lauren, beforehand. So we'll have to get that out to them. But if you're still seeing my screen, Sean, I hope you can see that. Can you?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so Lauren, guys, you probably see it on the screen here, the question from, or the answer from Lauren down below on the right. So when you go to that, it allows them to register. So you will have the ability to register on that site. Okay, so it's mamsoftwareportal.com, and so everyone has this. So it's mamsoftwareportal.com. I don't think it makes a difference. M could be lowercase. And then here's the cell phones of me and my team. So any questions at all on the software, please feel free to call. And I apologize. I know some of you may have reached out to me. Sometimes I travel a lot, so sometimes it's usually a few days before I get back. But if you want to, get with any of my team members, feel free to call them. Any other questions, Sean, that you've seen? I think that's it.
I do not see any others.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. And we'll be concluding now, and we will have the recording on the dealer portals for you to be able to link to. Thank you so much.